Hello and welcome to Tonalist Painting by M. Francis McCarthy. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy, and the painting that we are doing today is called First Light, and it is an 18 by 24. And this is the first successful 1824 I have painted, and but I've got another one I just completed this week that's actually looking real good too. Pretty happy with First Light. Like I was talking about it when we talked about the study last week. This is based on a painting I did that was revised last year, also called First Light. That is an 8 by 10. That came out looking pretty good. I basically, I think, just kept the background and the sky from that original 8 by 10. It had a road in it and some other odd trees, and it wasn't working, but I thought the sky was pretty good, and so I picked it up one day and fixed it up and was happy with it, and had some good comments about it in my studio. And so, when I was looking for paintings to do larger, that's one of the ones that came up, and so now it exists as an 18 by 24, and I'm, bit by bit getting more comfortable with working in these. To me, it's a larger size. I mean, frankly, I've seen things a lot. You can go a heck of a lot bigger. I mean, I could be doing a 30 by 40, and I'm sure I'll get there at some point, actually. It's a bit of an issue in the studio that I currently have. I think you can see how I have almost like this office type desk that I paint on, and behind the painting is a glass door, and actually if you look closely you can see I have a piece of cardboard that's up blocking the light from the glass door. Now, this doesn't usually show up unless the painting is exceeding the size of my easel, which it is in this case. Some of you will notice too, in many of these videos, you can see that I have a computer off to my left, and I use that mostly for listening to podcasts and news and things like radio shows and things like that. So I find that's a really lots of times I might do audiobooks as well. It's just a good way for me to keep informed while I work, and basically it's two different parts of the brain that are being engaged, so it works out real well for me. And sometimes I can, cast an eye on the video now and again, but you wouldn't see this, and you haven't seen this in previous videos because I haven't worked this large, and so to zoom out far enough to get that big painting in, you're seeing a bit more of my environment. It actually looks like I might be watching Alex Jones or something in the back there, and I've been following him quite a lot. I highly recommend him to people out there. Don't believe everything you hear about him. He gives you news that's accurate, and you can make your own opinions and do your own research from there. Anyway, this video is sped up about 16 times faster than I actually painted it, so it almost has the feel of a stop motion, especially in the preview that I see when I'm doing this recording, so that's sort of interesting. I think on today's blog post I'm going to be talking about proportions, and I probably will just ramble on a little bit. I think proportions are really significant in painting, and I know I've talked about it in the past. I'm kind of getting to that point where I know I'm covering ground that I've covered before in the blog, but hopefully it's with enhanced and additional insights. So those of you that do follow the blog, I appreciate it if I appreciate that you're following the blog, and you if you were starting from blog post 1 and reading up to blog post 150 or so, you might see a little bit of repetition, and You know, it's all in the name of education and illumination and exploration of painting, landscape painting. So I don't really plan this out like I would say if I was teaching a class. And I'm actually planning on maybe after my trip I'm taking in October, I'm planning on taking some time and maybe doing some classes here locally in Whangarei, New Zealand. Yeah, I don't know. The problem I have with classes is that I feel without that one-on-one interaction with the teacher, I think you get a bit of a canned experience. I mean, in fact, my teaching tends to be somewhat canned anyway. I will just basically paint alongside a student and do the same painting. You know, it would be interesting to be the type of teacher that would, you know, we have a class there at the quarry, and basically people do their own paintings, and then, you know, an experienced painter will walk around and give insight and inputs and how to make it better. And that sounds interesting maybe at some point. I don't know. I'm actually pretty loath to do anything that takes time away from actually doing paintings. And you know, you've only got so many years here in this particular reality, and my goal is to leave quite a few nice paintings behind. And to do that, I have to do a lot of paintings because not all of them turn out good, and that's okay. That's okay. So I guess let's talk about the this last week in the studio for those of you that are interested. Just finished a series of 5, actually 6, ranging in size from 10 by 14 on up to 18 by 24, and I've kind of settled into a bit of a routine there, and it looks like it's about a 3-week turnaround, which is pretty good, you know, for, you know, in this case 6 studies and 6 larger paintings. That's a decent amount of work. I'd like it if it was even more, but I've learned not to get greedy. You have to. I'm there and I'm working all the time, but you can't spend every second of the day actually painting. It doesn't seem to work out that way. And I also had been working on completing second passes in this 25 days of tonalism project I've kind of had on the back burner since February. I started a lot of those. And did the first, you know, I did all the drawings, and then the first quite a few, maybe over half of the first color pass, and then recently I've done first color pass on the rest of the 25, and now I'm going in and doing little touches here and there, which is all, you know, it's totally fun, and it's a good way for me to try and squeeze a little extra painting out of the day, you know. Especially if it's like, it's definitely what takes the most concentration and energy is that first color pass. Doing things like studies and drawings, and what I call drawings, which would be underpaintings. You know, it's not as stressful, and actually the way I've broken down the process is designed to keep you know, pretty minimal amounts of stress all the way through. But that first color pass, as I've discussed before, if the painting's going to be good or not, it pretty much hinges on that first color pass, because the second and third color pass is really more about texturizing things and adding glazes and refining things a bit. Maybe not refining, but yeah, I guess refining the painting overall. It can take me just as long to do that as it took to paint that first color pass, but the first color pass is where the painting is basically created in my mind, and that is why that's where my dates are. Because like I said, I think I said this last week, yeah, actually, you know, there's a lot of times that first color pass might be the only color pass, and I'll just coat it with liquid and call it a day. But Anyway, it was a good week. I'm happy. I finished, a series I'm going to be jumping in next week, and I've already got my reference all set up, and I'm going to go in after 6, I think. I might end up spreading out to 10 again, but I'm trying to keep it, a fairly small quantity per series so that I have a good turnaround of these larger paintings in time for some shows I'm trying to get going. Anyway, I can see we are getting close to the end here. Thanks for joining me today, and if you'd like to see more of my work, go to landscapepainter.co.nz and check it out. Meanwhile, take good care and stay out of trouble.